How's it going, everybody? Back with our Read the Bible with Me series. Fortunately, I have bad news. Yesterday, I kind of fumbled the ball. Um, the OBS recording corrupted past halfway through. So I'm afraid I was not able. I recorded the footage for it. Unfortunately, I am not able to salvage or locate it at all. What we got kind of is what we got. That's what I was able to get, which I think is only like a chapter's worth of content, which is tragic. Let's check YouTube, see if you guys have any new comments you guys wanted to add. Let's see. I'm wearing the headphones today. All right, let's see what comments we got. No comments. Okay. So, um, we're getting back into the word today. We're going to be reading out of Genesis 31, 32, 33, and Matthew 9. So let's get right into that. To sum up last chapter, unfortunately, I, of course, do not have the footage of me reading it. But last chapter, essentially, we kind of went over um, the little mini arc, the 14-year mini arc of Jacob trying to marry Rachel, and he is repeatedly tricked by his uncle, who I don't think gets vilified enough in this story. Maybe this was usual in the time, but in the modern day, having a guy work 14 years to get something which you promised 7 years. I don't know if they. I don't know. Does Laban get cursed at the end of this? I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember because I've read all of these stories before, but um, it's admittedly been a minute. We're still. Let's see. How far are we through Genesis? Let's take a look. Let's take a look. We are the lion's share through Genesis, which I'm already so proud of us for doing. It's one of the longer books, from my understanding. Yeah, drastically longer. Drastically longer. We're gonna lose out in like numbers, right? Yeah, no, numbers is shorter. Genesis might be the longest book. Um, well, except for like Psalms and Proverbs, obviously. Like in terms of just narrative, dense reading, that's gonna be a little more difficult. That's gonna be a lot thicker. Proverbs and Psalms are more their own pieces in and of themselves, but that is neither here nor there. But Jacob decides that essentially he's going to flee from Laban after he marries his daughters Leah and Rachel. Laban deceives him into marrying Leah. Um, Jacob believes he marries Rachel. Which, how do you do that for a wedding? I gotta bring up. I don't know what marriage customs are in this era, but I imagine it's really really awkward for Leah to presumably like wear a veil, be like sworn to be married to him. There are no priests in this time, but whoever's marrying you is like calling you Rachel, maybe. Maybe just calling you bride. Jacob didn't pick up on this either, but Jacob's got the I worked 7 years for a wife mentality going. So I can understand why he was a little bit. Let's get on with this. Um, Jacob heard that Laban's sons were saying, Jacob has taken everything our father owned and gained all this wealth from what belonged to our father. And Jacob noticed that Laban's attitude towards him had not was not what it had been. Then the Lord told Jacob, "Go back to the lands of your fathers and to your relatives, and I will be with you." So Jacob sent word to Rachel and Leah to come out of the field where his flocks were. He said, "I see that your father's attitude toward me is not what it was before, but the God of my father has been with me. You know that I have worked for your father with all my strength, yet your father has cheated me by changing my wages 10 times. However, God has not allowed him to harm me. If he said, 'The speckled ones will be your wages,' then all the flocks gave birth to speckled young. And if he said, 'The streaked ones will be your wages,' then all the flocks bore streaked young. So God had taken away your father's livestock and has given it to me. In breeding season, I once had a dream in which I looked up and saw that the male goats mating with the flock were streaked, speckled, or spotted. The angel of God said to me in a dream, 'Jacob.' I answered, 'Here I am.' And he said, 'Look up and see that all the male goats mating with the flock are streaked, speckled, or spotted. That is, for I have seen all that Laban has been doing to you. I am the God of Bethel, where you anointed a pillar, and where you made a vow to me. Now leave this land at once and go back to your native land.' Rachel and Leah replied, 'Do we still have any share in the inheritance of our father's estate? Does he not regard us as foreigners? Not only has he sold us, but he has used up what was paid for us. Surely all the wealth that God took away from our father belongs to us and our children. So do whatever God has told you.' Jacob put his children and wives on camels, and he drove all his livestock ahead of him, along with all the goods he had accumulated from Padan Aram, to go to his father Isaac in the land of Canaan. When Laban had gone to shear his sheep, Rachel stole her father's household goods. Moreover, Jacob deceived Laban the Aramean by not telling him he was running away. So he fled with all he had, crossed the Euphrates River, and headed to the hill country of Gilead. Laban pursues Jacob. On the third day, Laban was told that Jacob had fled, taking his relatives with him. He pursued Jacob for 7 days and caught up with him in the hill country of Gilead. Then God came to Laban the Aramean in a dream at night and said to him, 'Be careful not to say anything to Jacob, either good or bad.' Jacob had pitched his tent in the hill country of Gilead when Laban overtook him, and Laban and his relatives camped there too. Then Laban said to Jacob, 'What have you done? You've deceived me. You've carried off my daughters like captives in war. Why did you run off secretly and deceive me? Why didn't you tell me so I could send you away with joy and singing, to the music of timbrels and harps? You didn't even let me kiss my grandchildren and my daughters goodbye. You've done a foolish thing. I have the power to harm you. But last night the God of your father said to me, 'Be careful not to say anything to Jacob, either good nor bad.' Now you have gone off, because you long to return to your father's household. But why did you steal my gods?" Jacob answered, he means his idols. Laban is an idol worshiper. He's an idolater. "Because I was afraid," Jacob answered Laban, "I was afraid because I thought you would take your daughters away from me by force. But if you find anyone who has your gods, the person shall not live. In the presence of our relatives, see for yourself whether there is anything of yours here with me. If so, take it." Now Jacob did not know that Rachel had stolen the gods. So Laban went to Jacob's tent, and into Leah's tent, and in the tent of the two female servants, but found nothing. After he came out of Leah's tent, he entered Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken the household goods and put them inside her camel's saddle and was sitting on them. Laban searched through everything in the tent, but found nothing. Rachel said to her father, "Don't be angry, my lord, that I cannot stand in your presence. I'm having my period." So he searched out, but could not find the household gods, I should say. Jacob was angry and took Laban to task. "What is my crime?" he asked Laban. "How have I wronged you that you hunt me down? Now that you have searched through all my goods and you have found, what have you found that belongs to your household? Put it here in front of your relatives and mine, and let them judge between the two of us. I have been with you 20 years now. Your sheep and goats have not miscarried, nor have I eaten rams from your flock. I did not bring you animals torn by wild beasts. I bore the loss myself, and you demanded payment from me for whatever was stolen by day or by night. This was my situation. The heat consumed me in the daytime, and the cold at night, and and sleep fled from my eyes. It was like this for 20 years I was in your household. I worked for you 14 years for your 2 daughters, and 6 years for your flocks, and you changed my wages 10 times. If the Lord of my father, the God of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac had not been with me, you would surely have sent me away empty handed. But God has seen my hardships and the toil of my hands, and last night he rebuked you. Laban answered, The women are my daughters, the children are my children, and the flocks are my flocks. All you see is mine. Yet what can I do today about these daughters of mine, or about the children they have borne? Come now, let's make a covenant, you and I, and let it serve as a witness between us. So Jacob took a stone and set it up as a pillar. He said to the relatives, Gather some stones. So they took some stones and piled them up in a heap, and they ate there by the heap. Laban called it Jegar Sahadullah, and Jacob called it Gilead. Laban said, This heap is a witness between you and me, and this is why it is called Gilead. It was also called Mizpah, which he said, May the Lord keep watch between you and me when we are away from each other. If you mistreat my daughters, or if you take any wives besides my daughters, even though no one is with us, remember that God is a witness between you and me. Laban also said to Jacob, Here is this heap, and here is this pillar I have set up between you and me. This heap is a witness, and this pillar is a witness, that I will not go past this heap to your side to harm you, and that you will not go past this heap and pillar to my side to harm me. May the God of Abraham and the God of Nahor, the God of their father, judge between us. So Jacob took an oath in the name of the fear of his father Isaac. He offered a sacrifice there on the hill, in the hill country, and invited his relatives to a meal. After they had eaten, they had spent the night there. Early in the morning, Laban kissed his grandchildren and his daughters and blessed them. Then he left and returned home. Jacob prepares to meet Esau. Jacob also went on his way, and with the angels God met him. When Jacob saw them, he said, This is the camp of God. So he named that place Mahanaim. Names, man, no guarantees of success. Um, Jacob sent messengers ahead of him to his brother Esau in the land of Seir, the country of Edom. He instructed them, This is where you are to say to my lord Esau, Your servant Jacob says, I have been staying with Laban, and have remained there till now. I have cattle and donkeys, sheep and goats, male and female servants. Now I am sending this message to my lord, that I may find favor in your eyes. When the messengers returned to Jacob, they said, We went with your brother Esau, and now he is coming to meet you, and 400 men are with him. In great fear and distress, Jacob divided the people who were with him into 2 groups, and the flocks and herds and camels as well. He thought, If Esau comes and attacks one group, the group that is left may escape. Then Jacob prayed, O God of my father Abraham, God of my father Isaac, Lord, you who said to me, Go back to your country and your relatives, and I will make you prosper. I am unworthy of the kindness and faithfulness you have shown your servant. I had only my staff when I crossed this Jordan, but now I have become 2 camps. Save me, I pray, from the hand of my brother Esau, for I am afraid he will come and attack me, and also the mothers with my children. But you have said, I will surely make you prosper, and I will make your descendants like the sand of the sea, which cannot be counted. He slept the night there, and from what he had with him, he selected a gift for his brother Esau: 200 female goats and 20 male goats, 200 ewes and 20 rams, 30 female camels with their young, 40 cows and 10 bulls, and 20 female donkeys and 10 male donkeys. He put them in the care of his servants, each herd by itself, and said to his servants, "Go ahead with me, and keep some space between the herds." He instructed the one in the lead, "When my brother Esau meets you and asks, 'Who do you belong to, and where are you going, and who owns all these animals in front of you?' there you are to say, 'They belong to your servant Jacob. They are a gift sent to my lord Esau, and he is coming behind us.'" He also instructed the second, third, and all the others who followed the herds, You are to say the same thing to Esau when you meet him, and be sure to say, 'Your servant Jacob is coming behind us.'" For he thought, "I will pacify him with these gifts I am sending on ahead. Later, when I see him, perhaps he will receive me." So Jacob went on ahead of him, but he himself spent the night in camp. That night Jacob got up and took his 2 wives, his 2 female servants, and his 11 sons, and he crossed the fork at Jabbok. After he had sent them across the stream, he sent over all his possessions. So Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him till daybreak. When the man saw that he could not overpower him, he touched the socket of Jacob's hip, so that his hip was wrenched as he wrestled the man. Then the man said, "Let me go, for it is daybreak." But Jacob replied, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." The man asked him, "What is your name?" "Jacob," he answered. Then the man said, "Your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel, because you have struggled with God and with humans and have overcome." But he replied, "Why do you ask my name?" Then he blessed him there. So Jacob called the place Peniel, saying, "This is where I saw God face to face, and yet my life was spared." The sun rose above him as he passed Peniel, and he was limping because of his hip. Therefore, to this day, Israelites do not eat the tendon attached to the socket of the hip, because the socket of Jacob's hip was touched near the tendon. Jacob meets Esau. Jacob looked up, and there was Esau, coming with 400 men. So he divided the children among Leah, Rachel, and the 2 female servants. He put the female servants and their children in front of Leah, and her children next, and Rachel and Joseph in the rear. He himself went on ahead and bowed down to the ground 7 times as he approached his brother. But Esau ran to meet Jacob and embraced him. He threw his arms around his neck and kissed him, and they wept. And then Esau looked and saw the women and children. "Who are these with you?" he asked. Jacob answered, "They are the children God has graciously given your servant." Then the female servants and their children approached and bowed down. Next, Leah and her children came and bowed down. Last of all, Joseph and Rachel, and they bowed down. Esau asked, "What's the meaning of all the flocks and the herds I have met?" "To find favor in your eyes, my lord," he said. And Esau replied, "I already have plenty, my brother. Keep what you have for yourself." "No, please," said Jacob. "If I have found favor in your eyes, accept this gift from me, for to see your face is like seeing the face of God. Now that you have received me favorably, please accept the present that was brought to you, for God has been gracious to me, and I have all I need." And because Jacob insisted, Esau accepted it. Then Esau said, "Let us be on our way. I'll accompany you." But Jacob said to him, "My lord knows that my children are tender, and I must care for the ewes and the cows that are nursing their young. If they are driven hard just one day, all the animals will die. So let my lord go on ahead of his servant while I move along slowly, at the pace of the flocks and the herds before me, and the pace of my children, until I come to my lord in Seir." Esau said, "Then let me leave some of my men with you." "But why do that?" Jacob asked. "Just let me find favor in the eyes of my lord." So that day Esau started on the way back to Seir. Jacob, however, went to Succoth, and there he built a place for himself and made shelters for his livestock. That is why the place is called Succoth. Jacob came from Padan Aram. He arrived safely at the city of Shechem in Canaan, and camped within sight of the city. For 100 pieces of silver he bought from the sons of Hamor, the father of Shechem, the plot of ground where he pitched his tent. There he set up an altar and called it El Elohe Israel. Dinah and the Shechemites. Shechemites? Now Dinah, the daughter of Leah, had borne to Jacob, went out to visit the women of the land. When Shechem, son of Hamor the Hivite, the ruler of the area, saw her, he took her and raped her. His heart was drawn to Dinah, daughter of Jacob. He loved the young woman and spoke tenderly to her. And Shechem said to his father Hamor, "Get me this girl as my wife." When Jacob heard that his daughter Dinah had been defiled, his sons were in the field with his livestock, so he did nothing about it until they came home. Then Shechem's father Hamor went out to talk with Jacob. Meanwhile, Jacob's sons had come in from the fields as soon as they heard what happened. They were shocked and furious because Shechem had done an outrageous thing in Israel by sleeping with Jacob's daughter, a thing that should not be done. But Hamor said to them, "My son Shechem has his heart set on your daughter. Please give her to him as a wife. Intermarry with us. Give us your daughters and take our daughters for yourselves. You can settle among us. The land is open to you. Live in it, trade in it, and acquire property in it." Then Shechem said to Dinah's fathers and brothers, "Let me find favor in your eyes, and I will give you whatever you ask. Make the price of the bride for the bride and the gift I am to bring as great as you like, and I'll pay whatever you ask me. Only give me the young woman as a wife." Because their sister Dinah had been defiled, Jacob's sons replied deceitfully as they spoke to Jacob and his father Hamor. They said to him, "We can't do such a thing. We can't give our sister to a man who is not circumcised. That would be a disgrace to us. We will enter into an agreement with you on one condition only, that you become like us by circumcising all your males. Then we will give you our daughters and take your daughters for ourselves. We'll settle among you and become people with you. But if you will not agree to be circumcised, we'll take our sister and go." Their proposal seemed good to Hamor and Shechem, the young man who was the most honored of all of his father's family. They lost no time in doing what they said, because they were delighted with Jacob's daughter. So Hamor and his son Jacob went to the gates of the city to speak to the men of their city. "These men are friendly towards us," they said. "Let them live in our land and trade in it. The land has plenty of room for them. We can marry their daughters, and they can marry ours too. But the men will agree to live with us as one people, on one condition, that our males are circumcised, as they themselves are. Won't their livestock, their property, and all their other animals become ours? So let us agree to their terms, and they will settle among us." I promise, folks, this has a good ending. I can't help but read this a little because I know where this is going. All the men who went to the city gate with Hamor and his son Shechem, and every male in the city was circumcised. 3 days later, while they were still in pain, two of Jacob's sons, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brothers, took their swords and attacked the unsuspecting city, killing every male. They put Hamor and his son Shechem to the sword, and took Dinah from Shechem's house and left. The sons of Jacob came upon the dead bodies and looted the city where their sister had been defiled. They seized their flocks and herds, and donkeys and everything else of theirs in the city and out of the fields. They carried off all their wealth, and all their women and children, taking as plunder everything in the houses. Then Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, "You have brought trouble to me by making me obnoxious to the Canaanites and Perizzites and the people living in this land. We are few in number, and if they join in forces against me and they attack me, I and my house will be destroyed." But they replied, "Should he have treated our sister like a prostitute?" Good answer. Good answer. Good answer, gentlemen. Kill him. Oh, I love the end of that story. I love it. I love it. I love the part where they kill him. This one's not being this one's not listed for kids, guaranteed. Then God said to Jacob, "Go up to Bethel and settle there, and build an altar there to God who appeared to you when you were fleeing from your brother Esau." So Jacob said to his household and all those who were with him, "Get rid of your foreign gods you have with you, and purify yourselves and change your clothes. Then come, let us go to Bethel, where I will build an altar to God, who answered me in the day of my distress, and who has been with me wherever I have gone." So they gave Jacob all the foreign gods they had and the rings in their ears, and Jacob buried them under the oak at Shechem. Then they set out, and the terror of God fell on the towns all around them, so that no one pursued them. Jacob and all of his people with him came to Luz, that is Bethel, in the land of Canaan. There he built an altar, and he called the place El Bethel, because it was there that God revealed himself to him when he was fleeing his brother. Now Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, died and was buried under the oak outside of Bethel. So it was named Allon Bakuth. What's the connection there? Ah, that means oak of weeping. Oh, cool. I didn't know that. After Jacob returned from Padan Aram, God answered him again and blessed him. God said to him, "Your name is Jacob, but you will no longer be called Jacob, for your name will be Israel." So he named him Israel. And God said to him, "I am God Almighty. Be fruitful and increase in number. A nation and a community of nations will come from you. The kings will be among your descendants. The land I gave to Abraham and Isaac, I also give to you, and I will give this land to your descendants after you." Then God went up from him at the point where he had talked to him. Jacob set up a stone pillar at the place where God had talked with him, and he poured out a drink offering on it. He also poured oil on it. Jacob called the place where God had talked with him Bethel. When they moved to Bethel, there was still some distance from Ephrath. Rachel began to give birth and had great difficulty. And as she was having great difficulty in childbirth, the midwife said to her, "Don't despair, for you have another son." As she breathed her last, for she was dying, she named her son Benoni, but his father called him Benjamin. So Rachel died and was buried on the way to Ephrath. That is Bethlehem. Over her tomb, Jacob set up a pillar, and to this day that pillar marks Rachel's tomb. Israel moved on again and placed his tent over Migdal Eder. While Israel was living in that region, Reuben went in and slept with his father's concubine Bilhah, and Israel heard of it. Jacob had 12 sons, the sons of Leah, Reuben, the firstborn of Jacob, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun, the sons of Rachel, Joseph and Benjamin, the son of Rachel's servants Bilhah, Dan and Naphtali, the sons of Leah's servants Zilpah, Gad, and Asher. These were the sons of Jacob who were born to him in Padan Aram. Jacob came home to his father Isaac in Mamre, near the Kiriath Arba. This is Hebron, where Abraham and Isaac had stayed. Isaac lived 180 years. Then he breathed his last and died, and was gathered to his people, old and full of years, and his sons Esau and Jacob buried him. 33. Okay, so I oh, we read a good bit ahead, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. I mean, at this rate, we might as well read Matthew 10. Uh, for context, we just did 2 days worth of reading, which is, I guess, good because I missed Sunday. Um, so we're gonna read through Matthew 9 and 10. Oh, that makes sense. We're 30 minutes. Uh, you know what? We'll go through the Matthews tomorrow. How does that sound? Um, I'll be honest. I'm a little pooped out. My throat is like parched, and I was like, oh, my throat, it hurts so bad. I was reading through this, and I'm like, oh, that makes sense now. So let's pray. Um, I asked for prayer last week. Um, and I didn't specify entirely as to why feed cut out. I am undergoing a little bit of schedule stress. Work, my days off are potentially going to be moved around, and I would Uh, very much hate for that to happen. So I, I'm going to request for your guys' prayer on the issue, either for peace in this situation or a return to the continuation of my Saturdays off, because I'll be honest, Saturday is my only day of what feels like true respite. Um, so I'm so please pray with me. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this wonderful day. Thank you so much for your word and how engaging it is. It's always so full of of your truth in it, God. Um, Thank you so much for your justice, Lord. I'm reminded of the story. Jacob tried to make it very practical, but his but his sons, they understood the justice, and I think that's intrinsic to human beings. You say later on that you've inscribed your law into our hearts, Lord, and um, thank you so much again, my Lord. In your mighty name I pray. Amen. Amen. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for bearing with. This is a extra long one. And again, thank you all for coming. Good night.